Hello everybody. Well, I'm really excited to be speaking with you today because we've got a change in season coming up. In the Southern Hemisphere, we've got the beginning of fall, and in the Northern Hemisphere, we've got springtime. So big changes are ahead. And since there are so many astrological aspects I wanted to discuss, I decided to do a live stream so that maybe we can interact with some of the things that I'm seeing. Thank you to those of you who are joining me live online now. And again, I'm having to curb my excitement with wanting to be answering every possible comment here. But I just want to thank you and say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. So we've got the spring equinox coming up. We've just had a new moon in Pisces yesterday. And the new moon in Pisces has everything to do with you learning how to just be. Learning being rather than necessarily doing. Pisces is also about surrendering. Letting go, releasing. So that's the energy of this new moon in Pisces, and it also gives you an opportunity to develop your compassion, to develop your connectedness to everything, to see that we are, in fact, all connected. And so Pisces ruling the feet. And we're going to be moving gradually towards Aries, which rules the head, the other end, if you like. So you may be going through some completions at this time. An opportunity just to look at the areas of your life that you think of maybe with a certain sense of rose-coloured glasses on. I was noticing that I've been thinking about my first love, Michael, who I met when I was just 18. And I felt so much for him, and really I noticed that I was beginning to think, oh, you know, nobody has ever come up to him, ever. So you might be having these emotions of thinking, oh, you know, if only, and I might have and could have, and this was so nice, and you look back on a situation, maybe without seeing it in true reality, without seeing maybe there were challenges in that relationship, without seeing that there were difficulties. So the new moon in Pisces is encouraging you to dream. But at the same time today, the 18th of March, depending where you are in the world, I know it's already the 19th somewhere else, but nonetheless, Mars, Saturn and Pluto are all resonating in Capricorn for the next 8 weeks. So what does this mean? Well, Capricorn energy has everything to do with getting real. So your new moon in Pisces is having you go, oh, everything's marvellous, things are just great, and maybe seeing things not as clearly as maybe it would be to your advantage to do so. Somebody's saying they've had a lot of funny dreams, and yes, you might have a lot of strange dreams as a result of this Piscean energy. And you may also have been feeling a little bit in limbo, a feeling as though you're in between things and not knowing kind of where you're going in a way. Some of you may be very clear, but some of you maybe are just like, I can't get a handle on things. I can't get a grip on things. And you may well feel that, especially as we go through this transitional phase, because it is transitional. Now, the thing with the Capricorn energy that's coming is it's going to be important to remember what your priorities are and to be real about things. I've begun to find that with all this Capricorn energy coming, I'm noticing, what's really important and what are the things that I sometimes think I want, and then afterwards when I get them, I'm like, what was I so wanting that thing or that person or that situation? So maybe just less is more is one of the things to remember with this Capricorn energy, yeah? And feeling, you might be feeling as though you want to structure things. Yes, this Capricorn energy is going to force you in a way and say, come on, get structured, get organised. I don't think that's going to be quite so easy. I think there has to be a fluidity here. Somebody's been having practical dreams. That's great. The Capricorn's coming into your dreams here. Are you getting buffering? I'm being told that the stream health is under threat here. So can you still, are we still together? I'm still being told that some of you are maybe getting buffering. Am I buffering here? You see, it's this in-between thing. Even YouTube is doing it. We're in, thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good. I'm glad we're still together. So remember to be flexible with your planning, to choose what's most important, and then be gentle with yourself, because there's a tendency with the Capricorn energy to be a little bit tough, a little bit pushing things. So we've got this Piscean energy that we've been working with, which is completions, endings, letting go, surrendering. Happy spring equinox coming up. And then we will be having, in the middle of April, a new moon in Aries. Of course, the sun goes into Aries in the next few days. So we're getting a sense of new possibilities, new beginnings. And maybe not knowing where they are yet, because Mercury goes retrograde on the 22nd of the month in Aries. It's going to be retro until April 15th. In fact, until the new moon in Aries. So what this is about, Mercury retro in Aries, has to do with you reassessing, am I being assertive enough? Am I being confident, because we're going from the Piscean energy, which is we're all one, we're all mushy and we're all one big blob, to the Aries energy, which is about your individuation, you taking action in your life. So we're moving from being, which is the energy of Pisces, towards gradually over the next month to doing, which is the energy of Aries. And the challenge is going to be, because in the middle of these two new moons, at the end of March, we've got a full moon happening in Libra, right in the middle. And Libra rules the lower back, rules the kidneys, rules balance, and rules your love life, rules your finances. So it's going to be important. What I feel this Libra moon is doing right at the end of March is giving you an opportunity to transition between this energy of being and letting go and surrendering. But you can't always surrender and just be, because you're here to do things as well. So, if you like, the Libran scales are trying to get you to see other people's opinions, see the other side of situations. You might be ending relationships. There may be relationships that need to come to a close. You might find yourself noticing where you've not been accepting a situation. I mean, I have to admit, only a few days ago, I looked in a mirror. I happened to be trying something on outdoors in the market. I was trying this top on. And, you know, I got quite a shock when I looked at my face, because I really look a lot older than I really feel. I looked at my face and I thought, my goodness, you know, that is a face of a 60-year-old woman. It really is. And also, quite recently, I've had a lifetime of being slim, almost thin. You could say a little underweight from what other people have fed back to me. And I've really put on quite a lot of weight lately, just in the last couple of months. So another thing to surrender to. And to surrender to change. That's the energy of the Pisces, to surrender it, to see it for what it is with the Capricorn energy, to balance it out and to love yourself with the Libra energy. And thank you to those of you who are saying that I do look good. Lighting can be very deceptive. And it's just this acceptance of beginning to see that it's all right, not making something wrong. So, okay, I put on some weight around my waist and my hips, and I look more like a woman than I have done in my entire life. Okay, all right. And then just letting it go. You know, I did get the shock from the mirror experience. And have you noticed that some mirrors are more friendly than others? Some mirrors are very Piscean. They let you see yourself in a very sort of dreamy, wonderful light. And I've got two like that where I live at home. So I very rarely see myself under the harsh reality of daylight. I always look at these mirrors I've got at home. And it's just about seeing it and then knowing that everything's going to change anyway. Just as we get the changes of the seasons, just as we get the changes in our physical bodies. And if I'm learning to love all the changes, inside and outside. Is it easy? No. Am I doing my best with it? Yes. Now we've got a lot of square energy going on, coming up as we move towards this moon in Libra at the end of the month. And square, especially because there's a square to Saturn and Mars coming up, you might find yourself impatient with people. or certain things just irritating you. And again, I hate to admit it, but little things do irritate me. I'm noticing it now. Maybe it's a good thing that I'm noticing that I'm being irritated by little things. But let me just give you some examples. I feel a bit silly sharing it, but you know, yeah, all right. So I'm irritated when motorbikes come past me in a pedestrian area, right? I don't like it. I get irritated if somebody's speaking very loudly on their mobile phone in a peaceful park where I'm trying to be peaceful. And I know these are little things, but I'm noticing that energy of, I don't like this, I don't like that. So what I'm learning to do with these energies, so that this whole retrograde stuff is beneficial, because you can use the retrogrades this year very beneficially. So the Mercury in Aries coming up on the 22nd of the month gives you an opportunity to reassess your irritation level, to become aware of what irritates you and why. So I'm also irritated, here's another one, when I want to cross the road and the light is green for me and the cars are still going. I realise, now that I think about it, now that I even say it out loud, how blooming silly it is. But while it's happening, something comes up of an energy field. And you're right, we're only human. And yes, I'm certainly human. I have not been released of just being okay with everything that's happening. Today I was working out at the gym this morning outside, just doing a little stretching. And this is an outdoor place, and somebody's smoking right next to me. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, great. I'm trying to exercise and get healthy, and somebody's smoking right in my, close to me, with the wind coming at me, of course. So I'm trying to learn to see the funny side of it. I'm trying to see that I can, in most situations, I can just walk off. I don't have to put up with it and grin and bear it, and with the British stiff upper lip, the kind of Capricorn energy. And I'm also realising that maybe there are things that I do that also irritate other people. But how can we begin to diffuse this energy of frustration and anger and needing to go quickly? It's this impatience, and it's right in me. When I get behind the wheel of a car, luckily I don't own a car here, I just rent one as and when I need it. But even here, it's infectious. Everybody's very impatient, particularly here in Greece. It's not the same in Vienna, where they're much more sober on the roads. But still, and you can feel this energy of impatience. Somebody only has to stop for 1 or 2 seconds longer at a green light than normal, and they're hooting like mad. And I'm with them. I'm one of them. And I want to be able to change that. So I think the beginning is the awareness of it. And I think that's what this Mercury retrograde will help with between March 22nd and April 15th, is this energy of what's getting your goat. And how can I just release? So that's the releasing energy. Let it all go out through your feet into the earth. And then we've got the Libra energy. And the Libra energy is encouraging you to look for beauty everywhere. You'll be amazed at where you can find beauty. Yes, I mean, a flower is obvious. But can you find beauty in other types of things where you might go, ooh? There's another challenge for you. How are we going to adjust the way we see the world? Again, the retrograde encouraging you to adjust your expectations, to adjust how you see things. All that Capricorn energy is going to force you to slow down, one way or another. I was rushing around so much when I was 40 years of age, so badly that I fell very badly, slipped on some ice, and I fractured my leg, spiral and everything. And I mean, it was really bad. I had many surgeries, and I really got stopped by the universe. I had to stop. It was untenable. So rather than external events slowing you down, and I must say that it was one of my greatest growth experiences, going through learning patience, being in a wheelchair for months on end, not being able to run around and rush around. I really had to learn it, but it was an external push. So sometimes things do come externally. That's okay. What I'm trying to do with the astrology is to share with you what's coming up so that maybe together we can begin to plan and change this vibrational field to use the astrology in a constructive way so that we're not poleaxed by aspects, but that we can use them together. That's why I'm going live with you here, because I do feel that the live streaming is extremely powerful, because it's like we tune in together, just as impatience is infectious. You know what it's like, you're in a queue and you're in the supermarket and somebody's in front there counting out the bloody change. Now I know there's countries already like Scandinavia and Sweden where you don't have cash anymore. But all right, maybe somebody's forgotten the PIN number. They can't remember that, and that's all holding everything up. And then you start to look at other people and go, yeah, there's that agreement that goes on with, God blimey, what a nuisance. So how can we begin together to infect one another with a more patient type of energy? Let this be the infectiousness. Let us infect one another with this. And then I think we begin to make constructive use of Saturn, Pluto and Mars in Capricorn for the next 8 weeks. You're right, patience, not easy sometimes. Agreed. I'll drink to that. Water. So, then, as you begin to work with these energies, you're then going to be able to constructively use all this Aries energy, which is the head first. I know best. My ego. Pushing forward. That is the And Aries, if we look at where the name Aries comes from, it comes from the Greek word Ares, meaning the god of war. So Aries has got this energy of fighting. So we have to watch out, what are you fighting for? When you're fighting for something, you're often in a resistance to something. So it's this paradox. That's why I wanted to share this with you. The Pisces, the Libra, the Aries. These are the moon energies. The new moon in Pisces, the full moon in Libra, the new moon in Aries coming. So this is the flavour of this next month. And the equinox. And all this Aries energy. And all this Capricorn energy. So Aries saying, go, go, go! Yeah! Capricorn saying, hang on a minute. Whoa! Slow down. Pisces saying, does any of this really matter? Let me just get back to dreaming. I think I'll nod off and go to sleep again. I prefer my dream world and sleeping to this harsh reality. Great, somebody's saying here, fight with the flow, like the martial arts. The martial arts they're not bashing up against the energy. You flow with the energy so that it doesn't harm you, so that it doesn't harm others. So this is really what we are working with together. And of course, the Aries energy is tremendously exciting. Yes, isn't it exciting when you see those little buds, the crocuses and the hyacinths and the dandelions, the daisies and all the flowers coming to life? Here in Greece, the fig trees, I mean, they're dead for most of the year. You look at that tree and you think, is there anything in there? Is that ever going to do anything? And then all of a sudden now, you just begin to see these little green shoots of aliveness. And that can be you now, as you let go of all the things that don't matter. The things that used to matter, but that don't matter anymore. For me, money used to matter greatly. Now, don't get me wrong. Money is important and it is an energy. But I always wanted so much money. Yes, I wanted to experience what it was like to have a lot of money. And I did experience it. And it was just as stressful as having very little money, let me tell you. Each has its own stress. It depends where you are on the inside, much more than where you are on the outside of your life. So all the things that were not working for me internally still didn't work when I had loads of money. What with earthquakes in Christchurch and losing a grand lot of money and experiencing what that feels like was another thing, and another painful, fearful, and great experience, because it got me back to basics, got me back to reality. So the Aries energy, what new things are you wanting to do? What risk could you take? What gives you the butterflies? What makes you feel excited? Even just the thought of it. What makes you stretch? I mean, little children. I watch them in the playground where I go. It's just, I love watching just little children, animals. They're so beautiful, they're so innocent, and they're so present. And little children, they always wanted to climb higher and do something that they couldn't otherwise do before. Yes, so there's the bigger one who goes up on the slide easily, and the little ones are like, "Wah!" Yeah. So what's that bit of you that's just stretching up that little bit more? Every morning it's a stretch when I have my hot and cold showers. I think it gets easier when the weather gets warmer, but when the weather's not that warm, the cold shower is a stretch. Some mornings worse than others, but nonetheless. So there's this fine line between the tension and the sense of going beyond a certain comfort every day. I try to make myself go beyond a comfort zone every day. Today it's being with you, because I don't quite know what I'm going to say. This begins to evolve. I have some outline of what I want to share with you initially. I meditate on it. And then I just see what happens. So somebody else is sharing here that letting go of the person you love. And that can be very, very painful. But once again, keep in mind that Pisces is about the releasing and the letting go. And I don't know about you, but whenever I've released something and made space in my life, something new comes in that's even better than before. And especially when I've decluttered, when I get sort of rid of all the stuff that I think I need. I mean, if you were to see where I live now, I've pretty much no furniture. I have a bed just in case somebody comes to stay, but I don't sleep in the bed. I sleep on something that's about 2 inches, and I sleep on the floor because I love that. That changed a couple of years ago when I began the channeling, but that's for another video, because I know some of you don't like the channeling, and that's fine. So there's this need to create space. I think that's going to be very important. And then to be very aware of what you're putting into the space. You know how it is. When you're hungry and you've got a very big space in your tummy, it's like, you know, you could eat anything and you feel like, wow. And then as you eat, it's great, gets filled up. But if you eat too much, it's like, oh, I've eaten too much. I'm bloated. Hate that feeling. So again, it's this balance, finding the equilibrium. And I don't know that anything is ever in perfect balance because it's dynamic. We live in a dynamic universe, so it's ever changing. So it's about learning to deal with paradox. That's how I see this. It's a paradox that we're all connected and at the same time all separate, isn't it? It's weird. It's really weird. So the Pisces energy is about seeing that we are one, connected with the universe, with other dimensions, and with the mystery of life. That's the Pisces energy. The mystery. If you really think about a glass of water, it's miraculous. There are miracles all around, and sometimes I think I'm taking too many things just for granted. I mean, the miracle right now of speaking to you live. Think about that. Even 20 years ago, that would have been like, you're speaking to all these people live around the world and they can hear you and interact with you and comment with you? Let me tell you, as we move, when Uranus goes into Gemini in 7 years from now, boy, the technology. We'll look back at this technology now, today, and say, cool, were they primitive? Yeah. So, the mystery. You don't have all the answers. Knowing that you don't have all the answers, Pisces encourages you to say, I don't know. I get this with readings sometimes, you know. People ask me a question and I don't know. Now, sometimes when I've said I don't know, something actually afterwards comes through that comes from a different place. But it's about just saying, I don't know. So that's the Pisces energy of just, it doesn't matter so much. Pisces is dissolution, is dissolving. Things don't matter anymore. If something's dying and it's letting go and it's releasing, and it's dissolving, and the form is dissolving into something else, again, the mystery of life, we don't know what it is, and the mystery of birth, yes, that child, that little baby. You look into the eyes of that baby and it's like, wow, it's a miracle. So there's so much that is miraculous here. And at the same time, we live in a physical world, and the Capricorn's reminding us to be physical. And the Libra is reminding you to be gentle and to be kind to others wherever possible. Because when you're unkind to someone else, it doesn't really feel good on the inside. It just doesn't. A little child was coming towards me in a little motorized, one of those little trucks, yeah, only little. And I could see he couldn't stop it. And I was stretching there, and he couldn't stop it, and he was going to collide with me. And I'm like, okay. So I couldn't move out of the way entirely. It was going to hit me. So it hit me, and he couldn't help it, right? There was just nothing this poor little child could do. It didn't hurt me very much, but I stopped him. I looked at him in the eyes. I didn't smile because I didn't feel like smiling. It was, it was not easy. But I didn't shout at him. I didn't get unpleasant or unkind. So I'm just going to say, let's always remember best you can to keep the element of kindness. Because these are difficult times. These are challenging times. To be on planet Earth is a challenge. In case you hadn't noticed, would you agree that each day, in one way or another, we're being faced with challenges, either personally, with your finances, with your relationships, with your career, with your health, those types of challenges. And then the wider challenges in our world, the political, the economic, all of that. And this shift to a different vibration. And it's like we're in between the two. I think that more and more people are getting a sense that we have to move to something different. I'm one of the oldies here. My parents came out of that Second World War. And I had a lot of conditioning from that about the Germans and all this stuff that comes up. And then I got into an intimate relationship with a German. And how wonderful was that? How wonderful. Yeah, we have all these ways of keeping each other separate. And that isn't to say that you'd necessarily want to socialize with everybody. No. But we can infect one another with a desire to awaken to something more peaceful inside. And the more we can each find it internally, the more we can each connect with it. I could talk on more and more. I'm amazed that I can talk literally for this long, live stream, no interaction, nobody asking me questions much. And I can still talk with you because there's an energetic stream happening. And for those of you who watch afterwards, when it is not live stream, it's still your now moment, and it's still like a live stream for you. Somebody's saying here, yes, to peacefully exist between this physical life that we have and the spiritual world. And connecting. It's the connectedness. There's been such a disconnect. And thank you for helping me to be brave. Thank you for your encouragement. Yes, there's all kinds of criticisms from time to time. And that's kind of normal. Yeah, we don't like the same foods and the same things and all that. That's fine. And I'm very grateful for those of you that are really tuning in and being with me and exploring together. Aries, exploring together. That's the Aries and the Libra. Exploring is the Aries, and the Libra says, let's do it together. Because it gets lonely after a while doing things on your own. Okay? Nice to do things on your own, because each one of us is unique. Absolutely unique. There's no competition. That really does away with the need for competition, because there's never going to be another one like you. That's your Aries. And then the Libra is that we want to share things ultimately. There is a desire to be together in one way or another. Uranus moving into Taurus. I'm going again, you know. I thought I was stopping, but I seem to be having second wind here. So let me have another little sip of water. Uranus going into Taurus. May the 15th. We're going to be looking more, and I will do more videos about this as we begin to experience it. We're going to be looking at how we come together in communities, how we can support one another in a togetherness that is productive. In a way, put a crystal in my water. Okay, thank you. How can we come together in ways that are not just hot air, because we've had Uranus in Aries for the last 7 years, so some of this has been hot air ideas and some wonderful ideas coming. But now as Uranus moves into Taurus, it's about the practicality of building communities, physical communities, nurturing one another, feeling that we are safe with one another. God, it's been so unsafe to be with people, hasn't it? Yeah. So, I'm being asked, when am I going to do other stars? Taurus, family, community. I'm covering different stars, and let me tell you once again, everybody, that in your chart, you have all 12 of the signs. It's just that some are more pronounced than others. Taurus, Uranus into Taurus is going to get us to really begin to look at how we deal with money, how we use services. I mean, once again, I'm astonished that maybe we're going to have driverless cars very soon, so maybe it doesn't matter. But I'm astonished at how much there's just one person in a car using power, using energy And I'm not to say that there aren't places where you need cars. And I know in America, particularly, cars are a big thing, and not to say you don't need them. But once again, with the Capricorn energy coming up in 2020, with the Uranus in Taurus, all this earth energy, we're going to be looking at much more constructive ways of using our resources. So now, when I want a car, I rent a car, I use a car, I borrow a car, whatever, or I get a ride with someone, or I do it that way. I find creative solutions, and I think we need to find those on bigger scales so that, once again, we're making really good use of what we have, not squandering things. So, I'm being asked about payments here. Somebody wanting to get a reading. Thank you for that. Just send me an email and we'll work things around PayPal. Sometimes some countries are not accepted PayPal. Once again, you see, we're going to come up with creative solutions dealing with money and the illusion of what is value and what is not. Gosh, there's so much to share. Yes, our food. Food is going to be huge. How we grow food, how we consume our food, the kind of food we eat, praying over the food, the energy of food, food made with love. Yeah. So, I've said an awful lot. I could go on, and I'm aware that I'm being asked whether I'll accept Bitcoin. I don't know yet. Don't know. It's all a little too unknown. Cryptocurrencies, goodness gracious. I think that's another video. However, it does belong with Uranus in Taurus, because the regulation of currencies, how things get regulated, is going to come into it. And health is going to come into it. And systems around health care are going to come into question. Already happening. Already happening. I look at the NHS, the National Health System in the UK. It's such a wonderful idea at the time. Wonderful that every single man, woman and child would have access to health care. And how that's changed considerably, and that structure that was once there is no longer there, not in the way that it was initially intended anyway. So there are structures crumbling, and what are we building in its place? And that's why I'm so excited to be with you, which I feel is a community. When you join with me, this is a community we create together. I've done a video about Uranus in Taurus, and I will do some live streaming about it, because I think that we'll see external events, and I'll share some personal things as well with you, so that we can again grow into that. I have a strong sense that where we build and how we build physical structures like pyramids, like domes, healing structures, I think there's going to be huge inroads into that. Huge. I think really exciting ones where you can go, you may have some kind of an imbalance in the body, because that's really what disease is, and you go into a dome or a healing dome or something, and you get peace. So I'm seeing that coming in the not too distant future. So I think that really there's so much that we can do together, and I hope that, and I thank you for listening and being with me. I'll take one important question. If anybody's got something really important. Hi, you guys, so many of you joining now. Thank you for joining. Yes. There's going to be many new healing devices. The earth is so healing. There's so much here. And I think that we're going to remember things from the distant past, from our ancestors. The earth has got messages. Ayahuasca, I mean, there's all kinds of things, many people sharing here. So thank you very, very much for listening. If there's an urgent question, I'll take it. Yes, the earth does want healing too. Yes. But I've got a feeling, a strong feeling, that we are beginning gradually to move into a different vibratory field. And it is going to come. I will do a live video with the Pleiadians for those of you who want it. Not in this one because I know that not everybody likes it. So if you've just tuned in, I'm going to shortly do a video with the Pleiadians, if it's desired. So, thank you for listening. Enjoy your dreams. Release, relax, surrender, let go with the Pisces energy. Your Aries energy, get ready to go, because there's no stopping you. And the Libra, remember to share and to give people the benefit of the doubt. Much love to you. From Athens, Greece. The cradle of democracy, supposedly. Sending you love. Bye for now.